Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Kirsty.
And this is our podcast covering the highs, lows and realities of parenting a child with neurodiversity.
Each week we'll be sharing updates from our lives and hearing from a variety of guests about their advice and experiences.
This is Love Needs No Words.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Love Needs No Words. Christmas is done. I can't quite believe it, Kirst. How was yours?
We had a really nice Christmas. It was actually the break that I think we really needed. Lots of time actually just to, I think I was, we were chatting about it and I was saying it's so infrequent or so rare that we get the opportunity to be able to just have all of us off at the same time without one of us working or the other one working or, school holiday club or begging stealing somebody else to look after them. It was actually just a time where we had a good chunk of space off without the rush of the school kind of drop off in the morning. And yeah, it was good. It wasn't without its challenges, don't get me wrong, but it was a good break. And both of mine absolutely loved Christmas. We do talk about it often, but the difference in every Christmas, I think you can really, Christmas Day is such an easy one to be able to think, oh well, actually in previous years this happened, like even just to the point where I actually knew what to buy Max this year.
Yes.
Previous years I've been like scrambling around, like honestly it's so awful, but just kind of trying to find something to buy for the sake of buying something because I wanted him to have something, but not really anything that he was going to use, if I'm honest. But this year there were so many different things I thought, oh yeah, he'd really love that. And it was just really nice. And we went to my sister's and my nephew was there, and actually they get on so much better. There was just lots of lovely points, I think. And reflecting back, I reflected back quite heavily on 2 Christmases ago, which was a really bleak time.
Yeah.
And just it was just absolutely really difficult. Eva had just been born and Max was in it, like the height of really struggling, physically pushing my nephew over at any chance he got, and it was just hard work, whereas this Christmas Day didn't feel like hard work particularly, or maybe not as much hard work. I don't know. Where's the bar? I'm not sure. My bar is probably different to everyone else's bar, but it felt better.
No, it is really nice, isn't it, to have a day where you can actually reflect and look back. There's not many days in the year where you can do that.
No,
and you really can. Yeah.
Yeah, how was yours?
Yeah, very similar. Very nice. We visited a few places, saw lots of friends and family, and I agree. I think just being able to slow down completely, not being in a rush in the morning, just getting up and just being able to put a film on and all kind of like slob around until you're ready to get changed. Completely. It's just, yeah, it was really nice. And similarly to you, I found that it was a time where I could really look back and reflect, and the fact that he even really got it this year, I think his sister helped, and I think school helped because there's a lot of chat around it and a build up for him. But I mean, a couple of years ago when everybody was talking about how excited their child was about Christmas, I wasn't able to join in those conversations because he genuinely had no idea what was happening or going on. And it was Christmas Day this year. We walked them down the stairs, and John had hide your ears if any children are listening, but John had put out some footprints for Father Christmas and their little faces, and Alex was looking up the chimney to see where he'd come from and things like that. It was like, my God, he really understands the concept of it. And then brought us back to a year when Alex walked straight past his Christmas presents and started playing with something that he'd had for ages, and the sadness in John and I's eyes that year, that he was just so unaware of what this was, and was this what Christmas was going to look like going forward? Forever. Who knew?
Because you sit in those moments and you do feel like, in so many ways, I think you do feel like those what generally tends to be in some cases phases, you think that is forever. That's all you can see.
Yeah,
in so many ways, but Christmas is a real kind of, I guess, obvious one of where it's kind of right in your face, isn't it? Because there's so much tradition and expectation and all sorts of, and you probably project it a bit because that's what you want for them. It it's glaringly obvious when it doesn't
Yeah.
quite sit in that space that feels where
Yeah.
you want it to be.
And also, I agree that with presents this year, it was like in previous years, we'd be buying things maybe of his age group or what he should be playing
Yeah,
with. Where
absolutely.
this year, there were a few things of his age group, I would say, but there were also a big sensory box we got him and other things that other children his age wouldn't be playing with, but we know that he would get a
He'd
lot
love.
out of.
Yeah.
And that's kind of progression in us as parents as well, that we've now moved on, we've moved into a state of
What does he want?
acceptance and what does he
Yeah. Well, and just understanding your child a little
yeah
bit better. And actually, I think actually having that space, like one thing I was gonna say was that I feel like I was kind of thinking about it this morning, and I was thinking I actually feel like I know Max better over the last
yeah
couple of weeks because I don't know why, but there was just some things that just seemed really obvious to me having spent time with him, like I can see now because we've had challenges with him sort of pushing his sister at home, and I'm like, actually, I can see it's almost happens every single time we're like, right, we're going to go out the house. It's like that transition seems to trigger him for whatever reason. He's actually fine going out, but it's almost like I don't know whether it's
yeah
an involuntary response or whatever, but he seems to think at that point is a perfect moment to push his sister over. It's like, how have we not noticed this before? But like little things, I just think, oh, that's really obvious. That's
yeah
exactly,
because
you
you've
know,
slowed down you've
because you've
slowed
slowed
down.
down and you've got a bit
Yeah
more time, and you're just spending, yeah, time with them. We went on the tube one day, and he he was he struggled a bit with the noise at points, but he's really aware now of what too noisy feels like for him, and he's quite comfortable with telling us it's too noisy and whatnot. So put your hands over your ears, or maybe gonna get some ear defenders or like things for his ears. But actually, one thing he said is it's too busy on here, and it kind of got me thinking afterwards how many situations over the years have happened because it's just too crowded a space.
yeah
And now I'm thinking, this is so obvious. And maybe I sort of knew it before, but I'd never seen it in practice, the response that he has in those moments. And it was okay because I was with him. But had I have not been with him, what that would have done for him. And I just, yeah, there's lots of things that have sort of happened over the last few months where I just feel really sad for him. I think that he's been put into situations where he hasn't had anyone there to support him.
and like you say, I think it's understanding their triggers better as well, which 2 years ago they were only two or only three, so it's
Yeah.
it's sort of giving yourself a break really. But we were the same in that we left to go out today and we just put a film on. I hadn't given him any warning that we were leaving, and he said, "I'm worried." So John said, "You don't need to be worried. We're just going to the shop." But already he was in a state of, it was like fright or flight, where he
Yeah.
wasn't ready to leave the house. He hadn't been prepared to leave the house. He thought he was staying there for the rest of the afternoon. There was no kind of picture to explain where we were going. And then I said, "We're going to get some sweets." Well, shoes were on, we were off, but it's it's
So
being
it's finding
able
the motivator.
it's finding the motivator, and also being able to say to him, having a bargaining tool. A
Yeah,
year ago, if I'd
100%.
said we're
100%.
going for sweets,
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
wouldn't have worked. He wouldn't. I don't think he would have really understood what sweets were, or yeah, I wouldn't have been able to talk him round if he was in that mood. But yeah, you're right. I think slowing down and just being, just having that time with them.
Definitely.
I definitely feel we get more out of Alex when he's on his own. So like in the Easter break and the summer break when Isabel wasn't around as much, it
Yeah.
just gives him the space and time
The one-on-one
to,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
where when she's there, we can be doing anything and she wants to be part of it, which is
I know.
lovely. But equally, it's not giving
It's a
him the
real
time.
battle, that, isn't it,
Yeah.
actually? Because I really feel that too. And I'm really conscious that we try and do stuff. I'm not sure whether you guys are the same, but we try and do a lot of family stuff, the four of us
Yes.
doing stuff together, but actually I really recognize how important it is for him to do that one-on-one stuff. But
Yes.
actually then I feel like that's really difficult, because I feel like it's kind of dividing the family, the short amount of family time that we have together. Sometimes it's actually just not practical as well, but the short amount of family time together, I feel like we should be doing stuff together, but actually he really does benefit from that one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And we've sort of said actually in the spring that he's going to start doing a class on a Saturday morning, and my daughter's going to start doing a class on a Saturday morning, and actually let's just ring fence that Saturday morning as space for us to do something with them independently. The rest of the weekend can be whatever it needs to be, because I totally agree with you. I think they really, really benefit from that one-on-one time. The days where I've had just Max on my own, he's been so calm.
Yeah.
So calm.
Yeah. And there is something in it, I think.
I was sat in a coffee shop. I think it might have been, I feel like it might have even been Christmas Eve. So I'm the horrible mum, right, that sent my daughter to nursery on Christmas Eve because because I thought actually this is a really nice time for me to just have some time with Max on my own, because
Yes.
my husband was working. I thought, let's just, she doesn't particularly know what day of the week, like she knew it was Christmas Day the next day, but she's still of an age where she didn't really know. We didn't have anything particularly planned in. And I was sat in a local coffee shop with him, and we took along a puzzle, which, for anyone who's been listening from the start, he does like a puzzle. And we sat there and we had like a drink and stuff. And this lady came up to me and she said, I just wanted to say thank you for just sitting there with your son and not being on your phone and just interacting with him. And I thought, well, that's really lovely. Like, actually, we both love doing a puzzle, so that's really, really nice. But I thought actually he's getting a lot out of this as well. Not that
Yes.
I mean, I am guilty sometimes of sitting on my phone. Sometimes I think for me it's just a bit of a break that I need, like a bit of
Yeah.
headspace. But I didn't feel the need for that. Obviously, the time was ring fenced just for me and him. But actually, it was so lovely, and that's the second time we've done that, and it was just really nice. And
Yeah.
in that moment, no one would have known that my son had autism and most likely has ADHD. No one knew. He was just a child in a coffee shop, enjoying doing a puzzle and having a
Yeah.
drink.
Yeah. It is really nice. I agree. I definitely think that one-on-one time with them really brings out the best in them sometimes. And interestingly, we've said the same, that we're going to do weekends where we'll go off, not every weekend, but we will make the time to go and do something separate with them, because they get so much out, but they really, really enjoy it. They really enjoy it.
I think our daughters probably need it as well, actually.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
it's important for them too, because
Yeah.
I notice she gets probably, well, she does still get time because I only work part-time, but as soon as she goes to school, that's that's going to be a challenge, I think, for us to be able to give her the time
Yeah.
that she needs as well.
Yeah.
Because time is Max, a lot of time is taken up with Max just because of who he is and how he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with us. But yeah, sounds like they were both pretty regulated throughout the festive
We
season.
definitely had
which
our
is good.
moments. It was pretty regulated for Max.
Yes.
But we definitely had our interesting moments.
Yeah, I was going to
don't
say,
get me
what
wrong.
were your moments that you had?
I think that I think he can get very, very excited. And I think that's quite difficult to contain at this time of year inside, because he's loud and busy and chaotic. And in the summer, you chuck them outside and that's fantastic. And that's
Yeah.
him to a T. It's not always practical in this weather, and especially when it gets dark so early. So I think our biggest challenge has actually been those kind of more busier days where he has got quite, where he is just being Max, to be honest with you. But when you're trapped indoors, it can be quite difficult, and I think it can be difficult for other people who are around as well. And I'm aware of that, and you try and be as accommodating as possible, like trying to juggle everyone's needs, aren't you? So roll on summer. That's all I'm going to say in that
Oh my
that moment. And I think like keeping them occupied as well can be difficult.
Yes.
It's very expensive at this time of year to find activities. I actually find it quite difficult to find activities that both of them can enjoy as well, because you know, physically Max is way more capable than Eva is because of her age only. So there's certain things that are just not practical for me to be able to do, or us to be able to do with both of them, and both of them get the same enjoyment out of it, really.
Yes.
And it can just, you know, I was this is not new to Amy, but I was saying I spent £30 on an activity that Max absolutely loved, but was an absolute farce for Eva. And you just come away thinking, well, that was a joke, and I've just hemorrhaged a load of money. But we did find some really lovely things. We went on like a narrow boat. Oh, this is a good one to talk about, actually, because we went on a canal boat, and a friend of mine mentioned it. She said, oh, I'm going on this canal boat tomorrow. And my initial response was, can't do that, can't take Max near the water, you won't be sensible enough. And I was sort of sitting there thinking, no, I really need to change my perspective on this. This is not okay. Like, we need to just try.
Yeah.
We need to try. And I think that for me, that's something that I'm really conscious of for this year, that I want to do. I want to not use excuses to think, actually, it's easier not to do that.
Yeah,
because you probably can't, because actually we went on that boat and he absolutely loved it, and not a single issue. Now, had it have been a difficult day and he'd have been in a very heightened state, obviously I wouldn't have put him on a boat. But he was in a light, you know, we were having a relatively calm day, and it was absolutely fine, and we had a great time, and you know, both of them actually had a lovely time. And so yeah, that's my thing for 2026, to just push ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit more. There was a few things we did in 2025, like going on holiday abroad, that made us just think, actually, we can do more here than we're probably allowing ourselves.
Yeah. And what's the worst that can happen? Like,
What's
you
the worst that
decide,
can happen?
you
You
just
get
go,
there,
this isn't
you
for
think,
us,
no.
and we leave. Yeah.
100%.
And I think also, if you go into every situation thinking this could be an absolute nightmare and we might leave after half an hour, if you don't, then what an absolute win. That's what we do now.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Go with the expectation of leaving very soon after you get there, and then anything else.
I know. I know. We did have a situation on Sunday where we thought, do you know what? It's obviously been very, very cold at the time of recording. It's extremely cold, and we thought, well, what we'll do is we'll go somewhere local. Well, we used to live there, actually, so we're very familiar with it. The children know it well. We'll go there. We'll get a hot drink, and we'll take a walk, because it's really pretty. We'll take a walk around like the local area. Lovely. Went into the hot chocolate shop, which obviously we'd promised them that we were going to get hot chocolate from there. So that was maybe wrong. Anyway, queued up in this coffee shop for 15 minutes for a drink. 15 just to get to the front. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Anyway, they were okay. And I was thinking, right, once I've ordered the drink will come. It'll be quite quick, no problem. 25 minutes later, I'm still waiting for these drinks.
Oh, okay.
I sent quite strongly worded. I sent a strongly worded email afterwards, which is actually not very much like me, but I did. But it totally ruined the reason I'm saying about it is because actually that waiting time totally ruined that whole experience, because by that point Max had been sitting in a busy cafe waiting for a drink, relatively patiently actually, but his tolerance had gone. So by the time we stepped out of that coffee shop, he was livid, absolutely livid. And there was no way we were going for a walk after that. He was absolutely furious, and all I could do was just be there, you know, standing there like with the child he's taken to stamping his foot, which, I mean, in comparison to some of the stuff we've dealt with, is actually relatively socially acceptable. But he's taking and just he was just quite frustrated, to be perfectly honest. You know, he wanted to do that thing, but actually he'd had to wait all of this time, and he just,
and now his nervous system was shot
head's
to
gone.
pieces.
Exactly. But I was quite proud of myself, because I stayed very calm, even though I was very conscious that everyone was staring and probably judging what was going on. But I stayed quite calm, and actually it didn't turn into a full-on meltdown. Like, you know, he had a good 5-10 minutes of being quite furious in the high street, but we managed to get him back to the car, and I just sat with him in that mood. I just thought, do you know what, he has every right to feel frustrated. I feel frustrated that I've had to wait, and I understand the situation. I just thought, no, actually it's okay for you to feel like that.
I think that's the difference as well for people listening, is, you know, as they get older, and I'm sure some of you are in this boat, is that you start to sit in those moments with them, because where you used to get frustrated, where you used to get frustrated, you now start to understand them better, and sort of feel it with them. Like you probably started to think, oh my God, this is getting busier, we've not left, this is going to really impact him, so it starts to impact you. And you start to understand those emotions. Like for today's example, John turned around to him and said, I know, mate, I didn't really want to leave either. And it's like sitting in that emotion with them rather than getting cross with them and frustrated with them. It's like, no, I actually get it.
I get it. And they're so emotionally sensitive. This is something I've really picked up on over Christmas. He is massively impacted by our mood. So if he feels like we're tense, immediately you can feel it in him. It's like an immediate shift. It's very hard to keep you calm all the time. It's actually not completely realistic, but I really, really noticed how we are impacts how he is. Hugely. So I thought, if I just stay calm, we stand half a chance. Because as well, like, it's quite a weight of responsibility, but I'm so aware that he's of an age where we've just got to model this to him over and over and over again, because we've had quite a bit of aggression over the last at home, probably since the summer, which was something that we never had before at all. And he's taken to like hitting and stuff. And hopefully it's a phase. But what we have got to try and do is support him to understand what's driving it, but also model what he can do in those moments when he's feeling frustrated, because he's only going to learn it from seeing it. So but it's very hard because you're constantly like having to remind, it's like the patience with it, isn't it? The amount of time that it takes to do anything, for anything to have a difference. And you know that it will have a difference in the long term, but there's no immediate feedback. That's what's really difficult. You don't do something once or twice and then you see it replicated in their behavior quite quickly. Well, at least with Max that doesn't happen. It takes so much time. What's Alex like? Is it similar or?
He's had similar things recently, where if we're out and it all gets a bit much, or there's certain noises, like he doesn't mind babies crying or if Isabel's crying because he's used to that, but it's like if it's somebody else near him, or it's like if a child sort of cries and moves away, whether it's like a bit of fear of rejection, which will kind of links back. He will just go over and push them. And he's done it a few times to my cousin's little girl, and it's always when she kind of goes and sort of moves her, which is full right to do, but moves her sort of shoulders sort of as if to say go away, and he doesn't like it, and he's pushed a couple of times, and she's obviously completely fine with it because she knows Alex and knows it's not coming from a bad place. But I'll say, oh, you're all right, to her, and make him say sorry. But even then you're like, am I doing the right thing? Because
I know,
I feel the right thing is for him to apologize, but also it's like, well, that it's not come it's come from a place of his nervous system's just gone out of control, and he's not done it deliberately.
Completely. And I think it's really tricky. What I've kind of come to think as well is trying to find out what drove that behavior and then address it in that moment, because it's all fine and dandy getting them to apologize, and that is the right thing to do. But it's also like, I'm trying to use these moments to teach him the skills like live. And okay, fine, you're feeling X. I don't always know it's like a bit of trial and error, isn't it? And what are they feeling? Sometimes you nail it and sometimes you think, oh, I'm not sure if I kind of got that one right. But like, it's trying to teach them why did they feel the need to do that. Oh, you felt upset because she turned away from you. I would feel upset too, but maybe next time we could do something else. And it takes a lot of brain power, doesn't it, to do that. And then I feel really guilty in those moments where I just don't do that because I'm overwhelmed, or or I just don't have and then I sit there at night and I think, oh, I missed a trick massively there, that I should have done that, or handled that really, really badly. And then I feel really guilty. And I don't know if
that's just parenting, I think.
I think that's just parenting, but it's exacerbated. I don't know.
There's always things that you think, whether neurodiverse or not, that you could have done better or dealt with better. I mean, I took them to it was a place they had about, I don't know, 9 or 10 bouncy castles, you
Oh
know,
yes, I
just
know what you mean.
yeah. And we got there and he was off, so was she, absolutely loving it. Well, you know, give it an hour and it's got really busy.
Yeah.
And then I started to get really anxious because I'm now trying to find out where two children are. I've
Yeah.
got one that's on like a toddler one at one end of the hall, and then the other one wants to go on the one that's got a Mahusive slide. And if John had been there, it honestly would have been a
Yeah.
fantastic morning. And then you see, you know, I got frustrated at him because I kept saying, come back, but it was so loud. At times he was laughing and sort of walking away, but he knew. But there were other times where genuinely he could not hear me shouting at him. And then I'm getting frustrated. And then on the way home, you know, I thought to myself, you've only got yourself to blame because what did you expect? Like, you're taking two young children to a place where, again, it's that whole, you're trying to take them both somewhere that they'll enjoy. Yes, they did enjoy it, but I genuinely could not manage them because they're like running in different directions. So it's like, it's that whole thing of like, you know, it's just really thinking, is this the right place?
Am I setting myself up to fail here? This is literally
why do we do it to
I've
ourselves?
set myself up to fail. Yeah, because you want to give them the opportunity. You want to do fun stuff, and you also don't want to be stuck inside or doing like the same stuff over and over again. I even find it in parks. It's very difficult because one of them wants to do one thing, and they're up the biggest, tallest climbing frame, and then the other one isn't old enough realistically to be left on their own, but probably is more capable than the other one.
Yeah.
Oh. And I'm just like, oh my god, what am I doing? I try and find like safe-ish places to go. I don't always get it right.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess to sum up Christmas, it was lovely to see him really having a good understanding about it this year, really enjoying the process of opening presents, looking at the lights. We went to this light show, which they both absolutely loved, and he could kind of run ahead and I could see him, so there was no worry about that. But yeah, I'd say the hardest bit is for us, we noticed this year, was although he is playing with his sister a lot more, when we had all the family round my mum's, there was about 35, which was overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
Like, even I said to John, I felt overwhelmed today. And he was like, so did I. Why do you think I didn't leave the lounge? And I thought, well, if we were feeling like that, God knows how he would feel. So a couple of times he asked for our iPhone and we were like, yeah, like, you obviously just want to just zone out. But when he wasn't on it, he was really interestingly, he wanted to play not on his own with everybody else, but on his own. So where before he would have probably taken himself into another room where it was quiet to play, he wanted to be with everyone, but he just wanted to be in his own little world with everybody. Watching his sister just run off with her cousins, they were playing hide and seek, they were like running around the house like how I used to run around my parents' house. And it was just in that moment, it doesn't mean this is going to be forever, and why does it really matter? But it was just in that moment where it was like, how lovely if it was both of them running around with their cousins.
Totally.
And what she finds so easily and comes to naturally to her is really, really difficult for him. And they, you know, it's not for the want of them trying to get into his world, but when you've got a cousin that like wants to be and is following you around and wants to be part of it, it's in those moments where we just both felt a little bit sad that it wasn't the same, you know. And it's okay to feel like that in those moments.
It is, yeah, totally. I think they crop up in so many different ways, don't they? I noticed that with it's the exact same situation, really. Not Max isn't, I would say he very much wants to be involved, but he struggles to know how to be involved appropriately. That's the tricky bit for us. So yeah, and that I feel equally sad
and that's hard, because you're watching him trying.
You literally want to be part of this as much as my daughter probably wants to be part of it. She's understanding how to read this situation and you are not.
that's equally as hard in those moments.
Yeah, it's important just to be able to go, yeah, that's difficult. That's not what I would have chosen for my child to have those challenges.
Yeah. And we always come away and we're like, it always could be worse. There's always people that, have got much harder situations than us, but it's okay to sit in those moments and feel like, oh, this would be easier if things were different, but equally, you wouldn't change them for the world. So yeah, it's a really important time, Christmas, for those moments, I think, in so many ways. Yeah, definitely. But yes, we wanted to talk to you all as well, because I had some quite difficult news over Christmas, that my mum's health has deteriorated. She's had cancer for quite a long time, and the treatment has stopped. So they've said that she has been given a short amount of time. She isn't giving up. She's found a treatment in Germany, which she's hoping to have. But I am conscious that I just want to dedicate the next few months to spending lots of time with her and making lots of memories. And so we just thought we would put a temporary pause on the podcast whilst I focus on that, haven't we, Kirst?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I am thinking about starting an Instagram page for Alex anyway, just for my own record of how he's doing. So if I end up doing that, I'll put something out on the page in case anyone wants to carry on following Alex's journey over the next few months. But yeah, this doesn't mean forever, but we just feel at the moment I just need to focus on that for now. And Kirsty's got a lot going on as well, haven't you? So
yeah,
it just feels like,
there's a lot going on with Max and school and such like, and there's just there's a focus I think I need to put on that as well, to over the next few months, because we've spoken about it so many times before. It's so easy to burn out in this situation, when we've got children like this, and when it's challenging enough day to day, is the reality. And when you have additional things that are put on your plate, then it's important to kind of safeguard yourself and prioritize your time where it needs to be, and that absolutely needs to be with your mum and your family right now.
So we just wanted to say thank you to you all, really, for all of your support and love over the last 18 months, because we've loved doing all of the interviews and just sort of sharing our stories with you, because it's really helped us as well. And we still have an interview to go out with the lovely Sen Thing But Normal on Instagram. So that's Sophie. She's got twins who have a genetic condition, and she tells her story so beautifully, doesn't she, Kerr? So
she does. Yeah,
we will be putting that out next week. And
thank you, I think, to everyone who's listened, and hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed it over the last year and a half, because we have. It's been so many highs for us, getting to speak to people who we've learned so much from, but also going to award ceremonies and having the podcast recognized. So it's been a massive journey. So I think, from my perspective, I'm very proud of what we've achieved, and but now's the time to focus on some other things for the next few months.
I'm so proud of what we've achieved. I mean, to be nominated for 2 awards, and we were only in our first year, and they were awards for podcasters that were just doing podcasting from their living rooms, and to be recognized in the top 3 for that was incredible. So it's important not to forget how much we've done and how far we've come. It's not for forever, we hope, but for now, it's goodbye, and thank you very much for
listening. Go and follow Alex's journey, because it'll be an interesting one.
Thank you. So I think if I do an Instagram page, I'm thinking of calling it @discovering Alex's voice. So yes, I will put a post out on our Instagram page anyway. But thank you so much for all of your support, and we will hopefully speak to you soon.